the beat. The beat.
This week on PTL, we bust open the brackets in the Premier Regions. Take a trip into the freaky world of fantasy. Plus the Penta, mic check, and a horrifying last hit. Let's roll! PrimeTime League starts right now! Oh, it's a double! He's gonna get a triple kill, a quadra kill, an amazing play by Phoenix on us here!
Fnatic go onto the Nexus and they set a new European winning streak record.
Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of PrimeTime League. I am Riv III, along with none other than the David of the freakiest of the Turleys.
David of the freakiest of the Turleys. I love that very much. It's great to be here, Riv. Guys, we are at the halfway point of the summer split. We are 91 days away from the World Championship. A whole lot of cool things have been happening in the recent history.
It's been great stuff. And we have some big news to start off the day, which may sound like a bit of deja vu. It is confirmed that Team Solomid has purchased Keith's contract from Team Liquid, paving the way for him to officially join the team now. Liquid's owner Steve Aronsett released the statement this morning and added, "I'm really happy for him, and we'll be figuring out what the next steps are for Team Liquid Academy."
So Keith has been staying on the TSM house for the last week or so. He's been wearing their gear, he's been playing with them, and now he's finally part of the team. Yeah. Team Solomid has confirmed Keith will start in place of Wild Turtle for Saturday's match against Team Dragon Knights. Sunday, we'll have to see.
We will have to. And while we wait to see how Keith will impact Team Solomid, let's chrono shift back to last week's 3 BF games that featured first and second place teams battling it out on the Rift all over the place.
All over the place, indeed. On the European LCS, it was undefeated Fnatic taking on second place H2K. In Korea, it was undefeated SK Telecom T1 taking on second place Jatt and Riv. And in the North American LCS, it was Wild Turtle and Team Solomid meeting their longtime rivals Counterlogic Gaming in a battle for first place.
So good. Usually you spread out the good, but we wanted to put it all in one.
All at once.
But enough talk. Let's see how those BF games played out, and we'll start with Korea. Why not? As Jatt and Riv hope to be the team that could hand SKT their first loss of the season. There's a lot of hope there, though.
Yeah, of course, in Korea, it's best of threes. SKT have lost 2 individual games, so they're like 16-2.
You've tarnished there.
But in best ofs, they are undefeated. This was an interesting comp by Jatt and Riv. They bet on the Rengar, and even though he gets ganked early on, his forcing ganks are really strong, always combos with the Sivir and the Annie. He got a lot of kills that way, but SKT had been pushing the entire time. Faker's massive at this point from all the farm and turrets he's killed.
When is he not? The whole map gets to pretty much freely do what they want. If they're falling behind, Faker brings it back out, and you can see already 30 minutes in, again, testing Baron against Jag. They couldn't do much about it. Just bye-bye.
Yeah.
Just bye-bye.
I mean, the fact
you
is,
blinked.
Yeah, it's 7 kills to 6 when the game ends. You can see the gold lead being massive for SKT just because of how much better they were playing the overall map. Even though individual picks were happening, Jatt are not getting much out of it. Next game around, Faker playing mid lane Ryze, and he roams so well in this game.
Faker has a Mundo-esque capability. He does what he wants, when he pleases, where he pleases, and roaming to the top lane, roaming everywhere. So omnipresent in his games.
It's been ludicrous. We're going to see more clips of Faker being crazy, another kill for himself, and he will get the chase down onto Kuzan, who replaced GBM for game 2.
Right.
Same result, though.
Same result all over the place. Bengi and Faker making it work. It's just calm, cool, and collected. More plays to come in here, and SKT controlled the fights completely. Already, Che has gone down here, so they just roll through.
Yeah, the thing is, SKT had been actually getting run over by Jatt and Riv for most of this game, but they picked off Che, went for a Dragon. Jatt and Riv fought them 4v5, and this turnaround by SKT, comeback victory. You can see the total gold earned, barely up 900 gold, despite just getting an ace right there.
Not to mention, there were a few fumbles by SKT in that game. Marin almost throwing, a few other people getting in some bad spots.
But a good comeback went either way. SKT, 2 over Jatt and Riv.
Comeback, the best comeback.
Yeah.
SKT has been in the first place for the entire split now, and they remain undefeated in their series. Both impressive achievements, but SKT has been here before. So let's take a look at how this SK Telecom team stacks up against the 2013 championship squad.
All right, well, the 2013 team had come off winning the World Championship. They returned back to Korea to play in LCK's 2013-2014 winter split, and they 50-0'd it. Perfect performance throughout it. 7.7 team KD, of course, quite high as well. And, of course, there was a fact that 50-0 or not, they had just won the World Championship. So good luck having a performance quite as good as that 2013 version. The 2015 one certainly can do very well, but they've got to kind of keep that train going if they want to tie that kind of a record.
Looks good for now, but that's still a lot of work ahead of them. And when you bring up all-time bests and SKT, you have to talk about Faker. Right now, the all-world mid laner is having one of his finest splits.
Oh, absolutely. Faker has been huge this season. Last week, Monte Cristo highlighted some of his incredible stats from Korea's first round robin. I mean, this guy is definitely one of the best, if not the best mid laner in the world. But the question I actually have is, how vital is he to the team? Because if you compare him with some of the other top mid laners, for example, the #1 North American team, Team Solo Mid, Bjergsen actually does more percentage of his team damage, 38 compared to Faker's 33.
Very interesting stats to be looking at and keeping track of. And Febiven from the 10-0 Fnatic, who actually 1v1 Faker twice during the MSI, outputs 33.2% of his team's damage, putting him on par with Faker in that department.
Yeah.
Faker edges both of them out in gold earning, but best season of any League of Legends player ever. We'll have to wait until the summer splits are over to see what the numbers say. And speaking of those numbers, last Thursday, Fnatic entered the week with a chance to tie their EU LCS record of 9 wins in a row when they took on H2K. By the way they've been playing, things looked pretty good, but it would be H2K that could stop them.
Yeah, I mean, H2K is 7-1. They're definitely an incredibly strong team. The last sort of first round match for Fnatic right now in the lane swap. They find Adewamna. He's in the wrong spot under this turret. Easy first blood for the jungle Olaf.
That jungle Olaf, so awesome to see Reignover bringing this pick out constantly. Always with Huni as well. These guys romp around together in tandem. They got that bicycle they bought at the beginning of the season. They ride everywhere.
Yeah, and a really good ulti by Reignover. Make sure the knockout doesn't happen. Easy damage comes through. A second kill for him. The Olaf, something that you got to be concerned about. This is beautiful. He expects an early smite. The only way you're gonna steal that is to predict for an early smite, so he throws it early, happens to guess correctly. Beautiful stuff by Reignover. More chasing, goodbye.
Reign over the engages, reign over the objectives, reign over your parade. There's nothing that H2K could do.
Oh man, it was just a beautiful game. So Fnatic, they tied their win streak with that one, 9 wins in a row. Most in LCS history. They tied their own record.
So good.
Awesome.
So good. With that being tied, they continue to move on. Very, very strong for Fnatic.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of the other records, though, in Europe. Gambit, Alliance, SK Gaming, and H2K have all made it to 8 wins in a row before, but they've continued to fail to advance any further than 8. Interestingly, it was Fnatic themselves who played spoiler for 3 of those teams on their way, protecting their own winning streak. Of course, impressive by them.
That's right. And on the flip side of that, it was actually Gambit that ended Fnatic's 9-game winning streak back in spring of 2013. So last Friday, they had a chance to do it once again. And early on, it looked like they might just pull it off. Diamond Proc's bringing out the comfort pick, Elise Sin. Haven't seen it too long. Really making plays.
It's so crazy that Gambit did so well. They only had 3 wins leading into this game, but the early game was awesome for them. Cabochard disruptive as all hell. Betsy gets a kill for himself on Azir. This team even scales well, but Febiven, you're seeing the glimpses right there. 2 kills for himself. Yeah, you're seeing the pieces of what might be Fnatic's comeback in this game.
It was 12 to 5-ish before that. Gambit in the lead, but they just could not seem to hold it together. Things like that.
Yep.
Absolutely falling in the favor of Fnatic all game long.
I mean, he just hard carried his team in this one, and it got better and better for Fnatic. Huni's going to go in, flashes in to catch Betsy. The stun, it helps a little bit. I guess the shield helps him. The second half of Q, also quite awesome for him. And it was just enough for Fnatic to squeak back in, pick up a bunch of kills in a row, and finally break their own winning record.
It seems like they always get the chance to come back in a game, and those little plays from Huni, little plays from everybody on the team, those shock blasts from Febiven are the things that just are the catalyst for them to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the scariest game I think we've seen yet from Fnatic, where they really got behind. I mean, Gambit's still struggling to split. Even an early game lead like that, they couldn't close it out.
I don't know how you beat Fnatic. You have so many games to watch still, and people still get taken down by them. They're just that good.
Yeah.
Well, Fnatic's streak is definitely something to be proud of. It actually falls short in comparison to winning streaks from around the world.
Yeah, if you can actually see that Fnatic and the European LCS in general is actually at the very bottom when it comes to longest winning streaks in the Premier regions. Of course, that just means Fnatic's a strong region, so take that with a grain of salt. Now, things get really insane when you look at the record-holding Taipei Assassins. They won 26 games in a row in 2012 on their way to a world championship.
All right, we're not done with Fnatic just yet. We have a man behind the lines who has a lot to say about Europe's top team. How's it going, Quick Shot?
Pretty good, Riv. I'm excited to talk a little bit more about Fnatic's record-setting streak.
I'm excited to hear it. Earlier, we compared the 2013 version of SKT to their current lineup. Let's actually do the same with Fnatic now.
Okay, so let's start with the old Fnatic from 2013. The original team that set the 9-game winning streak here in Europe. This was also a squad that made it to the World Championships, where they got all the way to the semi-finals before they fell 1-3 to Royal Club. Now, I think the current version of Fnatic is even more impressive than the original team. This year's squad has got threats in every single role. They are proving that no matter what champions they play, they are going to find a way to take advantage of their opponent's weaknesses, and they're expanding their strategies, their decision-making, and their overall gameplay. Something I also particularly like is the experience in multiple competitive scenes. The fact that they've got this Korean influence is really focusing their gameplay. And the man that is helming it all is Yellowstar. He's just got such a huge impact in the early game. If we look at the impact he's had in the first 15 minutes of the game, in their 10 matches, he's gone 2-1 and 26. Those are incredibly impressive numbers and showing just how vital Yellowstar is to Fnatic's streak.
Absolutely, and right now Fnatic and SKT are the two only undefeated teams in the 5 premier regions. How do they match up against each other? And quick shot, let's set aside regional pride here and take an objective look at these two squads.
Okay, so I think to take an objective look, we have to look at their records against the top 4 teams from their respective regions, not everybody else, because we are seeing some quite clear divides between top and bottom. And when we start comparing and contrasting Fnatic and SKT's statistics, the thing that I find very impressive is just how clean and efficient they are. Massive numbers of kills and assists while giving up relatively few deaths. Both squads have got more than 1 average Baron per game, showing that they're playing objectives effectively and using them to win their matches. But I think it's important to note that both SKT and Fnatic are dominating their regions because they've been League of Legends powerhouses for a very long time. They know the lay of the land, they know their opponents, they know how to breed quality. But they also both lost to China at the mid-season invitational. So that's something that I think is going to be interesting to track as we get closer to the World Championships.
Awesome, Trevor. Thank you for that glimpse of both Fnatic and SKT side by side, and we'll have to see how the teams handle the rest of the summer splits.
Yeah, definitely excited to see playoffs and then see how they perform on the international stage once more.
For sure. And with records falling and clashes at the top of the standings happening across the Premier Leagues, let's see what the pros said. It's time for Mic Check.
All right, guys. Fighting!
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 I don't even remember how it goes now. Shit.
I'm a Barbie girl.
Yeah, in a Barbie world. It's fantastic.
Because it's plastic.
Oh, Minion has no head. I think with head is
worse,
more cute.
Oh, cuter.
Of course.
Like you, Huni. I'm stronger than Lee at this point.
I'm really, really weak this game, so I will
Clear, pink here.
back you.
Pink, just don't be negative, guys. Yep.
I
don't think they will level 2 Rex.
Deep breaths, man. We got this. We got this.
Yep. How hard is it to learn like 20 words?
And
then you are in Mic Check.
At some point in my life, I knew this song.
Someone go bot. Someone go bot.
Yeah, go back. One bot.
I don't want to go bot. I don't want to die.
Okay, me. Okay.
Woo! He's got the black cleaver.
Holy shit.
All right, nice job, guys. Nice job.
Let's kill some tanks.
Let's kill some tanks. Oh my god, you guys.
Keep focus. We want to win.
There's a slow push bottom. There's a slow push bottom.
Perfect CS.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Life in plastic. It's fantastic.
Life in plastic.
Thanks. Come.
We can go on them.
Look here.
I'm on Afro. Nice.
Oh my god. They're all really
Go back. I'm gonna push mid. I'm gonna push her. Good job, Lost. Good job.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we should fight. Don't fight.
I'm just gonna steal with
It's fine. They're losing farm. They're losing farm.
so far ahead anyway.
You want me to go top or bot, Tony?
Maybe bot is better.
Yeah.
Nice.
Holy shit,
Really? Well played. I play. They play out here.
Okay.
Oh my god, Phoenix! Holy shit!
What just happened?
Wait. Can we do back? Let's do back. Let's do back.
Oh my god.
Go back. Make play.
I gotta say, when I watched that play live, I yelled the loudest "Holy f*** of my life." Guys, why'd you bleep that? I said holy fun, F-U-N, friendship and etc. Whatever. Anyhow, let's take a look back to last week's Twitter question where we asked you guys to tell us which team will snap Fnatic's current winning streak. And, well, nobody got it right. Fnatic are still undefeated, so rest assured that when or if they finally lose, we'll check back and see who had the right answer. But enough about the past, let's look ahead to this week's games. After the bevy of BF games with Worlds 91 days away in Europe, we wanted you to give us your personal power rankings. So send a tweet our way. Tell us, who are your top five teams from across the 5 premier regions? Now, for example, my list would be number 1 TSM, number 2 CLG, number 3 Team Liquid, number 4 SKT, number 5 Edward Gaming, and for bonus points, number 5,000 Fnatic. Obviously, I'm kidding, of course, but you get the gist of it, right? Pick 5 teams from 5 regions, mix and match as you want. Send us your top 5, send your answers to @Esports along with the hashtag PTL, and who knows, fame could be yours.
Hey everyone, Jatt here with another edition of League of Learning. This time, we're going to be talking about Echo, who's actually going to be entering his 4th week of LCS pick and ban viability. First off, since he's been here for 3 weeks, let's play a little bit of catch up. Where have we actually seen him? Because he's been in 3 different positions. Mid, surprisingly, is the least likely place for him to show up and the least successful. Jungle and top are very close, competing for who plays him the most, but probably thanks to Huni in the LCS, he has the most wins in the top lane. Aside from that, though, we just got to look at how his pick rate has actually declined since he entered the LCS. A lot of hype for him coming in week 3, so he was picked and banned a total of 16 times. Slight decline in week 4, even bigger decline in week 5. And guess what? He's going to get a little bit lower pick rate this week because of the 5.12 patch Echo nerf. So let's talk a little bit about what's happened here. His base attack speed has been lowered. His passive damage is reduced. Both of these things will hurt his laning phase, his jungling, and his early game. You also add in the 3rd and 4th nerfs there of a lower AP ratio on his initial hit of Q and the added cost to his ult with a lower damage radius. It's all around just a slightly weaker Echo. But that doesn't mean we won't see him because he still has specific strengths in specific areas. Let's first take a look at his top lane Echo chances. We can still see him up here because he has the mobility to match the lane, and he is a magic damage threat in the top lane, which becomes important if you want to work in something like a Varus or a Jace mid, and you don't want to have completely a full magic damage team. So that way, he can still compete with the tanks in the top lane, so we could see him here, especially if you really know how to play him. Take a look at Jungle Echo. This should still be a thing because he wasn't really used for his damage. It's all about his high utility and his strong ganks, which will only be slightly changed by his weaker jungle clear thanks to the nerfs. Also, all the same things will be true. Powerful CC follow-up if you have like an Annie on your team. Landing them in that force field will be really easy to get the long stun. And obviously, the fact that he is a full tank who can then heal up with his ultimate, pretty beneficial. Unfortunately, Mid Echo may not see nearly as much play. Maybe we will cease to have seen him. Yes, he is assassin threat with strong utility, but his strong laning phase has been nerfed down. He lacks the sustained damage that something like a Cassiopeia or a Azir has right now, which is the current mid lane archetype because you need the damage to cut through the tanks. And it's just not a world where Echo can exist at the moment, not to mention the nerfs. So in closing, I hope you enjoyed this League of Learning. We may see a little bit less of Echo, but at least you know where he's strong.
Hello. That's weird. Is there an echo in here, Kobe?
He was banned, Freak, much like you will be if you continue to make puns.
That's impossible. I'm here to stay forever. Anyway, let's turn our attention to North America for the LCS, where CLG had their first challenge of the week when they took on Team Liquid. 5-3 Team Liquid, 7-1 CLG. Top of the table, the Platinum Mage is here for Counter Logic Gaming. We start things out already 3-0 for Team Liquid with a further tower dive.
Can they keep it up? Phoenix charges in, and a couple of wonky flashes there, but he one more auto attack, takes out the turret as well. He gets the job done.
Yeah, one red dodge bar ulti, I believe. And speaking of ultis, Phoenix now in a 1v4 after a team fight, but this ulti knocks in 3, refused to get caught. Bard actually died just to his turret at the very beginning of that fight, but a 1v4 Quadra, ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that was the play that turned the Emperor into a god, and Phoenix was able to carry the team fights after that play as well.
His damage output incredibly high. He's got 2 tanks dominate, very disruptive, and Quas on the front lines on Sion dies so incredibly slowly here, even if he does go down to a red buff. And now, watch the Smithy flank here, comes in from back, but Phoenix knows he's here somehow, and man, just don't even try it. Nice try.
And one more stray, gonna tag that one too.
Wow, triple kill once again for Phoenix. This guy just went absolutely massive during the game. That was the win right there. Team Liquid improved, get another win. But after day one of the North American LCS, the exact midway point of the summer split, here's a look at what the standings looked like.
Counterlogic Gaming, Dignitas, and TSM were all tied up at the top of the table, setting things up perfectly for the final game of the week, CLG versus TSM.
And this was going to be absolutely massive because here we go. Day 2 in North America, top of the table, longtime rival CLG TSM squaring off. What else would you have here at 7-2 for each of these guys? It starts out explosively with a great level 1 for Team Solo Mid.
All right, yeah, not so good for Smithy and Double Lift here as they get womboed. Lustboy's going to flash in, get the knock up, and that's first blood.
So 4 and a bonus gold to a Tristana who's already good at knocking down turrets. Bonus AD helps a little bit. CLG forced to burn some summoners, so they do get away. But plenty of time. 103 on the screen means he gets to recall and buy for the first push. 5 kills to 4. Hardcore wombo combo. Lustboy sets up everything.
That is the play of the entire game. TSM are able to take it pretty much off of that one move from Lustboy and the rest of the team, by the way. Bjergsen goes a little deep there, but that equalizer plus combo from Lustboy was enough for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So we watched the push in towards the base, 6,000 gold up, 32 minutes in. Another big play from Bjergsen, knocking in the team. Whether he gets chased down or not doesn't really matter. Just starting the fight was enough for him. 2 kills on a turret already picked up for TSM, and they just get to knock the base down because of that. So Team Solo Mid securing themselves with first place after that game. Pretty impressive stuff. Alone on the top of the standings for the first time all summer. Great things for them. However, keep in mind, in the standings, Team Dignitas was in the same spot as well. If they win over Team Dragonites, the 0-9 TDK, then Dignitas also joins first place. But keep in mind, TDK now have Ninja and Emperor in, which means this is a new team.
Oh yeah, a brand new team here. Emperor and Ninja had a really good initiation into the LCS. He picks up a kill here, venturing into the enemy jungle, and he's going to be able to pop that silver ultimate and group, as they say.
And you can see 30 minutes in, these teams are basically tied in gold here. Slight lead for Dignitas actually, but Seraph just so disruptive on this Vladimir, relentlessly diving the back line, getting a lot of damage done. Gamsu getting even chased down as well. Just all the damage dealers of TDK. Great boomerangs and everything. Really great performances.
Yeah, even though Seraph went down several times, he was the point man for the team.
And here's another just amazing team fight. Great secure on the Baron actually by Emperor here with some missed smites. And just Dignitas just can't really get the fight going the way they want anymore. Again, Seraph into the back line. Gets a kill or two. Pops Zonia still won't go down. Gamsu can try to chase him, but kill or not, still goes for a fight for TDK.
Yeah, Seraph had reason to smile after this series. And the first victory for Team Dragon Knights, finally able to pick it up.
At 1-0 with the new lineup, we'll see if they can do any more with that. But at the end of 5 weeks of North American LCS action, here are the current standings as of today. Team Solo Mid remains alone in first place after Ninja, Emperor, and the rest of TDK took out Dignitas.
And that dropped Dignitas into a 3-way tie for second, along with CLG and Gravity.
Now let's turn to the LPO, where Master 3 hope to continue climbing the table as they took on a shaky-looking Snake. Master 3 looking much better here in the summer split. Dade still in the mid lane, unstoppable. Now in the mid lane for Snake, picked up for the summer split back in May. See how they fare here coming into this matchup. In the mid lane already, on to unstoppable, knowing this might be shaky. It's only been a few months. The communication there from Dade and Kandi, though, on point. Dade, a little tired with the match. 8-5 in their favor here, but Flandre able to come back very big. Q, the gigantic horse who nobody thought was going to be coming out of the top lane with so much damage. Beautiful play from Flandre. The rest of the team able to pick up kills. Sivir in the composition just helped to catapult these guys forward, controlling objectives, controlling the dragons. You can see 8-6 as they're on an inhibitor turret, and M3 goes for broke, meaning they were avoiding the fights up until now. Crystal picking up a triple kill overall in this fight as they go on to ace M3 and take the base for game 1. Overall, great play. Flandre, however, coming up real big on that horseplay. You can see the elixir of iron on him right now. He's gigantic. Played very well for the team. 3-1-4 in the overall lineup for him at 326 CS. That game, 42 minutes, a little bit longer than average. The second game, 10.5 minutes faster, but it didn't stop M3 from going on you in the mid lane first. Hit him up, get him as low as you can, and try to make the other lanes do work. Well, that's exactly what happened again, but this time it was Beast being a beast from the jungle, ringing the dinner bell. Snake U on his heels. He was hungry for something as well. And you have a moment to talk about Shurima? Dade did. Dade goes down. Beast able to help with that kill. Unstoppable happy with what's going on in the mid lane with Beast. Unstoppable, though, still getting a little ahead of himself. Goes hard for the turret. Thinks Shurima's going to be able to save him here with a legacy. Goes down again to Kandi and Dade. These little things slowed the game down a bit, but overall, Snake was just too big. Look at this Baron fight. Dade a little bit out of place. That's all it took. This fight goes a little long, and watch. Crystal goes back, but Kandi hits the Zir wall, doesn't actually get the kill, and he's disoriented for a bit of the fight. That actually really helped out a lot. Flandre being huge, Beast still being a beast, and they are able to continue through these fights. Like I said, 10.5 minutes faster coming on that game. Snake take this series, everybody on the heels of QG and Edward Gaming as they come up in the end of the split. And well, it might be the year of the GOAT over in China. Last week was definitely the week of ties. As the teams battled through 12 matches, 10 of those ended in ties. And these were the top teams going up against the bottom teams and splitting these best of twos. That just shows you how tight things are in the LPL as teams like first place Edward Gaming dropped a game to 8th place Team King. Despite that, EDG continues to hold on to first place by a single point as once again EDG played without Pawn. Bamey started in the mid lane while Amazing J filled in for Cora 1 up top. And we'll see if they can hang on to the lead with 5 weeks left in the LPL Summer Split. And Kobe has joined me here at the desk as we head from China back to the scene in Korea as Najin EM Fire took on KT Rolster in a battle that would send one team up the table and knock one team down a peg.
All right, well, let's get into game one here, and we'll start off in the top lane. Someday under attack, and Watch gonna cut off his retreat.
Like the plays here, stops him from getting back, but he still threads his flash body slam in to make sure the auto attack kills him. But there's more flash body slams coming all over the place.
Yeah, Watch looks like he really wants to place back at Worlds. Flashing all over the place. There goes another kill for him.
That was just a snap of the fingers for him. KT going for a desperation Baron here. You can see it's 8-2, 9-2, and Najin's score is just gonna go up here.
Ooh, yeah, they're able to collapse, stop the Baron, and clean up the ensuing team fight here. Goom working his way through a minefield here, able to live with the heal, though.
All the plays, he's happy about it. He's like, thanks team, Bromit there. Coming through big, all the dragons really going to Najin in this game. They had full control over everything, and it was always KT one step behind.
Yep, deciding factor here. They were able to control it all game long. That's going to be the victory in game number 1 for Najin.
That surrender, though.
Woo!
Not something you see every day. 7-1-5 though, OQ, that's not something you're going to be stopping too often. At 43 minutes in, game 1 went to EM Fire. Game 2, KT would hope to be able to pull something else out. What a spell shield from OQ to stay in range and continue this fight from the team. But this was really the Duke show.
Yeah, Duke was able to land the equalizer, slow them down. OQ flashes in for another chase, and they pick up 2 off of it.
Duke's happy. He's like, hey guys, guess what? 2.5 screens away, don't worry, I'm helping. Another equalizer to come in. Well, it doesn't really hit anybody. It's enough chaos to take the fight.
Splits the team in half here. They're able to isolate and chase once again.
Easy peas. OQ, they have the Sivir comp as well. He just had a great game, so why not give this guy another confident champion? Duke now, the Duke show. This is kind of just reruns for him.
Running over the Valkyrie there, and they're going to push on into the base. This one tags a few people, basically pushing them all off of the turret.
Another equalizer that can't leave KT Rolster with anything. 20-6 already. Najin EM Fire coming through so big on this matchup. Everybody playing stellar. Everybody coming up with kills and great kill participation.
Yeah, this game was fairly one-sided here, and Najin cleaned up the entire series.
You could say that. A lot of the teams climbing the table now in the LCK are pretty hungry to start reaching up and get where SKT are. It's a very difficult thing. CJ Entis playing against the Coup Tigers. Coup Tigers, a team that are up there with SKT and always putting up a strong fight as they show here throughout this series.
Yep, just last night this one took place.
Yep.
We're started off by the Dragon here because Coco gets hit with the Tibbers and Wisdom flashes over the wall.
Wisdom, that's a name you'll be hearing quite a bit throughout this series. Here, Coup, making sure they have the situation under control. The map pressure is theirs. You can see how dark the map is here for CJ Entis. They get these small picks, they get real big control of the game.
Yep, they chase down high. shy while the rest of CJ shove up the mid lane there. Now let's going to start this one off though. Wisdom with the flank.
Yep, the game did get quite close. You can see this fight a little extended, but it was Coup Tigers able to pick out the priority targets instantly in the fight, chasing CJ Antis off of pretty much anything. 46 minutes for that first game, so it did go a bit long.
Yeah, first one pretty close. Second one going to be a bit of a different story. Wisdom taking this one into his own hands. He gets off to the ganks early.
This guy's kill participation in the beginning of this second game of the series is ridiculous. By the time we get to 15 minutes in, he is absolutely huge. You can see already here, 14 minutes, he's in the mid lane. What are they doing? Taking out Coco. Where's he going next?
I love these ganks where he's able to avoid the CC he knows is coming from his target. Works his way around the Azir wall. This one, he's going to be able to work his way around the Gnar CC as well.
Got him 1 minute later. We just saw that at 14 minutes. 4-1. They have 5 kills, 100% kill participation, and he's going to help get another one here. Wisdom, 5-1-1 as they move on to 15 minutes. Crazy plays.
Yep, one hit left on that turret as well. Here's him diving. One more for Wisdom. And that is going to be the story of that game.
You know what? Sometimes it's just your birthday that day. You get a lot of presents. You get
That only happens once a year.
A lot of surprises. Well, he made it happen twice that time. 27 minutes that time, almost cutting the game in half with the way he played.
20-3. Definitely a convincing victory there.
Yeah, it is. And as Korea continues their second round robin now, here are the current standings. SKT remains in the lead, but Coup Tigers aren't far behind in second.
And things remain close between the remaining top teams as Jin Air, Najin, and CJ round out the top 5.
Now let's check in on the only league you really care about. It's PrimeTime League's Fantasy League of Legends Legendary League. And now, guys, I have a ton of positive traits, but if there's one thing I'm really known for, it's got to be my humility. I mean, good old humble me, right? It's awesome. So it's not my nature to trash talk. Who am I kidding? All right. I absolutely posterized Rick Fox. I more than doubled his score. He got the lowest points of the entire fantasy split. I even had the most points scored in the week. God, I am so good at Fantasy League of Legends. All right. Now, anyway, in the rest of the PTL FO4, Mark Merrill took down the Dragons, Gordon Hayward finally got his first win against Dante Basco, and Chandler Riggs did the same against Quickshot. NA greater than EU.
Hold up. Wait a freaking minute there. You actually don't know the full story. It was Chandler's Sweet 16 last weekend. He had absolutely no wins on his name day. So I figured as a president, I would decide to gift him a victory and this absolutely delicious brain cake. So happy birthday, Chandler, and congrats on your first win.
Wow, that's really generous of you, Quickshot. I mean, you've made it really close, but where'd you get the brains?
They were just laying around. It's not like the Fishio's really been using them lately.
I feel like the brain's bigger than the Fishio's. I think you're lying about this one. Either way, I hope it was delicious.
Yeah, well, I decided to use some brain power of my own. I actually managed to secure Keith for my fantasy roster, and hopefully can bolster some of my lower scoring players so I can use him to take you down, freak.
Trevor, I could bench my entire lineup and beat you. Whatever, good luck next week. Anyway, let's look at the upcoming matches for this week in the PTL FO4. Mark and Rick face off. Dante and the Dragons do the dance, and Chandler takes on Gordon. And of course, I'm going to take down Quickshot. Now, you guys at home can play along and predict the outcome of the matchup. So send a tweet to @LOL Esports with the hashtag FreakWin or the hashtag QuickshotLose, and we'll see how well you guys voted. I'm excited to see who's going to win that one. I think it's going to be a fun vote. Anyway, guys, enough about PTL FO4. Let's turn to the realm of LCS Fantasy at large and hopefully give your lineups a tune-up. Up first, the Point Kings. For being the god of light, Apollo had a pretty devilish 66.6 points for the week. Then Phoenix rose from his week 4 ashes at a 59.5 points, and Candy Panda proved he was as deadly as he is adorable with 57 points for the week. Now that's pandas in general, but also the player, I suppose. Anyway, let's turn to the duds of the week. A bunch of players who went 0-2. It's really unfortunate. Gambit support Gosu Pepper faced Origin and Fnatic. He only got 6.8 points total. Next, Counter Logic Gaming dropped to Team Liquid and Team Solo Mid. Their worst performer was Smithy, who got whacked with a cinder block in those games, only 7.4 points for the week, also a bad scoreline. And finally, H2K Lulex dropped off as H2K picked up 2 losses to Fnatic and surprisingly to SK Gaming, only 8.7 points for him. Now, it's time to ring the bell the alert bell rather, for the following players. Up first, Keith, and also kind of Wild Turtle. Keith will be playing for TSM on Saturday for sure, but keep in mind, teams can switch players between days. That means maybe Turtle plays on Sunday. Either way, definitely do not run Wild Turtle. He's only going to get 0 or 1 games, and consider benching Keith if you don't want to risk Turtle coming in on Sunday, but he's still, of course, a good player. TSM's likely to win a bunch of games. Now, Copenhagen Wolves, Unlimited, and Young Buck will be out of the lineup this week. The team has also released all of their old subs. They've signed new ones to the roster. After 2 losses last week, it's been pretty rough. There's a lot of upheaval in the team. They're not really winning games anyway. Honestly, I would bench or trade away all of the players, but if you, for some reason, believe in the new Wolves lineup, then I guess go for it. And finally, let's talk about some sleepers that you've been hitting the snooze button on. Up first, Gravity top laner Hanser. We've talked about him before, but only about 1/7 of you are starting him. He's averaging 21.3 points per game, which is the 5th highest across the entire LCS for top laners. He should be starting in practically every league. And the thing is, it's not just because he wins. He's got 19.4 points per game in losses. Hanser is actually doing amazing this split. He credits a lot of his increased skill this split to his new jungler move. Either way, Hanser's awesome. Next up, Team Dragon Knights. They finally have their full roster with Ninja and Emperor in the lineup. These guys are actually doing quite well. TDK dominated first place Team Dignitas last week. That's pretty impressive. This week they play TSM, who's in first place, also Enemy Esports. They probably go 1-1 this week, but if you really believe that the miracle season is going to happen, then you can play them now. At the very least, I recommend picking up TDK, putting them on your bench for now. If they end up being the real deal, then they go to the starting lineup. If they don't, it's okay. Wait a week, figure out how they do against TSM and Enemy Esports. So guys, go home, tweak your lineups, and guys, remember, you only have 4 weeks left of LCS, so good luck, have fun.
So let's check in on the LMS, where Hong Kong Esports was hoping to get lucky and topple AHQ at the top of the table. It was going to be a tough matchup, especially since out of the jungle, Dinter was playing extremely well in this series, and he started off very fast, taking down Mountain.
Yeah, Mountain not too happy about that one. A little bit of cheesy right there, coming in, killing him at his red buff. And here's a hook down on the bottom lane.
You gotta do what you can. You know you love it as a jungler.
Oh, yeah.
Plays in the bot, a good teleport to come in. You didn't expect more people, but it's a party. 3's a crowd, 4 is the entire family as they come in here. The teleport actually stopped because they knew they had the kills. They get everything they want out of this.
All right, gonna chase him down. And one more hook to secure that death sentence.
Easy peasy. Even Victor trying to come down and grab some kills for himself. No deals, though. Dinter again with the team trying to push forward, but he's the first one to initiate. Great job over the wall, and they continue to pick up kills. Wasting ultimates as well just allowed them to keep pushing forward and get the advantages.
Olay, 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 olay. Hook after hook, gets in there with the flay too, taking the turret. Yes, he goes down, but they're inside the base.
Price Seeker gets it. Dinter once again coming up. A little bit of the Dinter show coming out of game 1, 4-0 and 15. 36.5 minutes.
Big upset there. HQ dropping a game. Yep. Unheard of.
Very unheard of. Nobody ever thought it would happen. Kind of patched things up coming into game 2. Dinter not doing everything as well as he'd hoped. They started to focus him a bit more.
Yeah, he goes after Mountain again, but Westor's got his back this time on the Twisted Fate. Here goes another Twisted Plate from old Westor as well.
Yep, Westor opening up the gates to make the best door for the team. Kill after kill, trying to get out. Ole doing it not enough on support alley, trying to push people out, getting pushed around on the farm.
All right, look at this one. Ziv able to twist it, advance the Morgana ult, goes back in. Even
that was very
standing
nice. That was very nice.
The pool doesn't go down.
He's Ziv. He's a big guy. He knows what he's doing. Very, very happy, but still focused, still confident. What? Tower dive? Sounds good. Let's go deep. All the way on the rocket jump through, and the Righteous Glory hits at the perfect time.
All right, then they're pretty deep inside 2 turrets here, and HQ are going to take the second game. Pretty good cleanup.
Very, very good cleanup. They were able to lock it down, get themselves into position to just make things work out easier. See, that series ended 1-1, and everybody kind of wondered, what's going on with HQ? Is everything going to be all right? And last week, we saw HQ going from being unbeatable, as we were saying, as an LMS super team, to a squad that split 2 series in a row. After winning 7 series in a row, which amounts to 14 straight wins, AHQ went 2-2 in their first 2 matches of week 6. And then the team took another hit.
Yeah, I mean, after that series against Hong Kong Esports, HQ's jungler, Mountain, he started complaining about pain in his hand. So in the last series of the week, HQ shifted Mountain to the bench. Luckily for them, they've got a great support as their coach. Green Tea came in, and they move Albus back to the jungle where he belongs to see if they can pull it off.
That's right, which meant that AHQ looked to right the ship with a new jungler and a new support when they took on the Assassin Sniper team in their final best of 2 of the week.
All right, well, let's get on the field here and see if Green Tea still got it. Hey, flash and stun. Where'd Graves go?
The Leona
he got the
Graves, such a painful lane to play with. Westor again coming in with the Twisted Fate play, things that allow AHQ to grab the omnipresent control and the control of the map.
Yeah, looks like he still got it there. First blood. All right, let's see if we can keep it up, though. Callisto once again.
Eagle Eye Green Tea. These solar flares coming down. Doesn't it take a while for that solar to sun rays to get to the earth?
Yeah, Albus, he didn't even get to partake in that one. Too slow.
Look at this, and coming through. Dead men walking. 1, 2, and a third one. A little overstaying their welcome on the side of Assassin Sniper. And says, thank you very much.
All right, gonna take some shock blasts here inside the Baron pit, but you got too close. There goes the equalizer. There goes Leona engage, and they chase him down.
Easy peasy chases for these guys. One person can dash over a wall. You got Westor gating to the back line. So much control of the fights. And AHQ, show everybody, it was just a little bit of a mix-up. Get this one in 36 minutes, and we move on to game 2.
All right, Albus is the target this time.
Yeah.
And what a good Gragas ultimate, knocking him out of the tunnel.
Getting dunked. Nothing better than a good dunk to start the game off. Gets everybody riled up. Definitely got these guys riled up. AHQ going strong. We jumped quite far through the game. Kills coming out everywhere. Zonda actually thinks he has the advantage in this one, but he just kind of gets himself into the I think I can situation, and he was hoping that he did.
Yeah, quick move up to the top there. Westor gonna use some of those mobility summoners, chase down a couple of kills for the team.
Westor very happy with the situation. Not this one. Green Tea gets completely deleted as Assassin Snipers do find a few here and there, but it just wasn't enough to stop HQ.
Here he goes again. That's the re-engage and a beautiful equalizer.
So
There's not going to be any coming back from that.
That's a hot foot. Everybody charred up on this one on the side of Assassin Snipers. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Anchi goes down. Nice play coming out of AHQ, especially with a swapped roster so late in the season. They're able to do anything they want.
Yep, shifting people around, and they're able to pick up the 2-0 to close out the week.
And with that, we're down to the final 2 weeks in the LMS summer split, so let's check out the current standings as they are. AHQ remains out in front, but that massive lead has shrunk to just 3 points as the Flash Wolves are closing in.
And both AHQ and Flash Wolves have locked in playoff spots as other teams look to qualify over the next 2 weeks.
And now it's time to lock in our amazing amalgamation of awesomeness.
Or as Uzi gets to call it once again, the Penta.
Coming in at number 5, it was 5 kills for Uzi's Bane.
It's the parallel convergence. Punish gets caught up by that one. Dredgeline comes through, immediately removed. Uzi now trying to run around this fight. Long, he's the next focus. He's going to die. Uzi tumbling forward, picks up a double already. His heart, he's going to get taken down. It's a triple quadra kill for Uzi now. Scatchy's getting flashed on. It's a pentakill for Uzi's Bane.
Running in at number 4, Reignover's Olaf had an axe to grind with H2K.
Oh! No way! Reignover!
Are you serious? There's your dragon control right there.
At number 3, all the way from Brazil, it was INTZ Red's Robo with the Quattro kill.
Tier 2 e agora a torre do inibidor. Olha o robô. O robô vai pra cima com o Erion. Loop eliminado. A torre pode ser focada. Vai ser destruído. Tá ainda muito próximo. Ainda de pé essa torre garante a destruição. O robô vira o foco. Volta no ultimate. Double! Triple quadra kill do robô!
At number 2, CLG messed with the bull and they got the horn.
Not the one they want, but it is the one that they want. Santorin heads in with the Jarvan Quattro Cataclysm. Locks it up for the team. Trist, Rumble, picking up kills.
Let's take a look at this Wombo once again, though. So they hook Lustboy vision control-wise, but that's exactly what TSM was waiting for.
Equalizer.
That was gorgeous.
And our number 1 play this week was Phoenix with the 1 vs 4 outplay.
Every flash on people that escaped was burned, and they want Phoenix in this turret.
Oh boy.
He's pretty strong, though. What's he gonna do?
Oh, it's a double. He's going to get a triple kill, a quadra kill, an amazing play by Phoenix on Azir. The legacy of Shurima is real. Let's see this again.
I play, make play down here.
What a tremendous play by Phoenix, juking and outplaying 4 members of CLG. That's a 1v4 quadra kill.
I'm going to try and make a play here.
Try to do it. Hashtag things that make you want to play a champion right there. If you haven't played Azir, you probably want to now. So remember, if you see a pro play that feels worthy of a spot in the Penta, send a message to @LOL Esports along with the hashtag #ThePenta.
Right, we will take the best and we'll make sure that they get into the right hands in order to be properly matched up for your viewing pleasure.
That's right. And speaking of action from around the world, this morning Riot released information about how you can get tickets to the 2015 World Championship.
That's right. Tickets for the different stages will be available from different dates beginning on July 8th. For more information, visit the ticket link at the top of lolesports.com.
That's right. I know I can't wait. Neither can Deficio. It's going to be Worlds. But for now, it's time to say goodbye as we end this episode of Primetime League.
Hang on, Riv. I did want to catch a movie after PTL. So check out the trailer that we have made for it in our last hit.
In a game where only your skills can keep you alive, the deadliest move could be your own. The only way to save yourself is to stay inside. This summer, stay indoors, or that first blood could be your last.
This week on PTL, we bust open the brackets in the Premier Regions. Take a trip into the freaky world of fantasy. Plus the Penta, mic check, and a horrifying last hit. So activate your Talisman of Ascension, because prime time I'm gone.